guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back at one of my favorite parking lot locations because guess what? We have it. This is a 2021 Nissan Sentra. This is a top trim. This is the SR trim. But before we get into this compact car from this iconic Japanese brand, let's talk about what's going on here. Nissan. Once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away, they were at the top of the game, 80s and 90s, when it came to so many great vehicles that they were producing. The Sentra was around back then, but things have changed. The great news is that the compact sedan segment of the auto industry is still hot. You still got a lot of those big name players. Obviously, the biggest two are going to be the Toyota Corolla and the Honda Civic. Yes, there's the Mazda 3. Yes, there's the Hyundai Elantra and the Kia Forte. But you know what? There's just something about the recipe that the Corolla and the Civic has been bringing to the table. Now, this 2021 Sentra SR has something new, and it's going to hit you right smack dab in the face. The color. This color combination is new for 2021. And of course, we've already talked about this redesign that has happened with the Sentra, taking a lot of design elements from the bigger brothers, the bigger siblings, the Altima and the Maxima. But is the Sentra still a vehicle that you should be considering if you're going compact sedan? And is it bringing something maybe a little bit more than that Honda Civic or Toyota Corolla? So let's go ahead, let's dive in and find out, hey, is the Sentra at the top of the heap in that compact car segment? And is this the one you should be buying over a Corolla or Civic or Mazda 3, Elantra or Forte? Let's find out. Right off the bat, the color. I think the color combination helps the overall design. That blue with the two-tone, that gloss black roof really sets it off. Now, at the front of the business, like I said, you're gonna see a lot of the same design elements taken from the Maxima and the Altima. You are gonna get LED headlights, LED daytime running lamps, and LED turn signals. So that is a nice touch. And you know what? Looking at the competition, those bring LED headlights at the bare minimum. Depending on trims, you could get some other LED elements, but it is nice the way you have it all in one housing. And I do like the nice angular look. It gives it a little bit more aggressive look on a compact car. Now, you do have a little bit of gloss black, nothing too crazy, and some fog lamps. The great news is no fake vents. And when we look at the competition, they bring some fake vents to the table, which brings some big zonks, but there's nothing to zonk so far at the front of the business. I love the way they angle it down, and you could clearly see, like I said, that connection to the Maxima just in this one area. Now, as we come across the grille area, you're gonna get this nice dark chrome finish. That's that V-motion grille, a little bit of gloss black, functionality looking good. The Nissan badge, we still don't have the updated Nissan badge on this 2021 Sentra, but it will be coming soon. And then this bottom section, I like the way they went flat black. That F word, no, get your mind out of the gutter. Functionality on the bottom portion with a little bit of that blue, I think kind of balances it off. You can see a nice, low slung hood that meets into the front fascia. And I really think the color is the name of the game. If this thing was white or silver, it just wouldn't have that pop effect, especially in the Florida sun. Now, when we get up onto the hood, I'm liking the body lines. Look at the way they come up from the V-motion grille, go into the hood. One set fades away, the other set goes right into the A-pillars. And then as we come around the bend, what are we working with on the styling and the size of the wheel? So SR trim, this is gonna be your top wheel. This is an 18-inch wheel, machined aluminum gloss black. If you're comparing this to the competition, you're gonna get that same size on the top trims. You have a ventilated brake rotor there. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what kind of size are we looking at? You're looking at a 215 on the width and a 45 series sidewall. Kind of simple on the design of the wheel, but you know what? The split spoke here in the center, matching with the blue, I think for the most part it works. Depending on Civic or Corolla, it's really gonna be beauties in the eye of the beholder when it comes to wheel design, but this is the wheel at the top trim, the SR. Now, as we go down the fender, you can see how that body line rides all the way down. SR trim is gonna get us gloss black on the mirror caps, and then that two-tone style. Not only the blue with the black, new for 21, you are getting a sunroof, and the great news is because it's all blacked out up top, it just blends in super clean. I wish they would have went dark chrome on the metalwork on the bottom portion of the window frames. I think that would have connected it a little bit more with the V-Motion grille. So we are going to zonk that, but I like the way it's just on the bottom, and it kind of just flares out at the end, and then you're going to get that floating roof design, which Nissan really started doing on the Maxima quite a few years ago. So having this blacked out gives it that floating roof design, separate, makes it look separate from the rest of the car. That lower side sill extension is a nice addition, gives it some extra character line, and even the body line on the doors, the bottom portion of the doors, really gives it some elements of depth. Now, one thing a lot of people don't notice is that the body lines, as they flow into the rear, really get pronounced and gives it a nice flared out fender look. And as we come to the tail end of the business, you're really going to be able to see how that fender comes off of the rear passenger door into the taillight housing. Like the design overall, the Sentra badge, such an iconic name. We need to get some turbocharged power back to this thing and really bring the horsepower. But you get a tasteful trunklet spoiler. Look at the way they notch it out to make it go around the Nissan badge. SR trim. You got two other trims you could go with. And then as we drop down, one exhaust outlet, but you know what? I do like the way it's an oval cut, nice slash on the tip. I just don't, this fake grill back here, this has got to go. Zonk this flat black area, but I do like the way they have the lower bumper area to make it look like a simulated diffuser area. And it's gray, which is kind of nice. It's just weird because this is the only portion of the car that has gray on it. So would have been nice to kind of tie that in somewhere else, but it does look very sporty. And if you're comparing it to the competition, they pretty much have the same mixture in their recipe. Well, why don't we pop the hood and see what's powering our SR Sentra. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have a prop rod. I'm gonna zonk it because on a top trim, you should have hydraulic hood struts. Underneath that hood, you don't have a engine cover whatsoever to cover any of those hoses and tubes and wires, but that's what an engine looks like in the 21st century and why a lot of the manufacturers put covers over the top of the engine. But what are we looking at? We're looking at a 2-liter inline-4 naturally aspirated engine, 149 horsepower, 146 pound-feet of torque. The challenge with that horsepower number is we are down on horsepower, at least about 20 horsepower on the Corolla right off the bat. You do have a Cvt transmission, and before you get all upset about that, the competition, both of them, the Corolla and the Civic, both have Cvt transmissions. 0 to 60 though, you might as well be riding a skateboard. 9.4 seconds, 0 to 60 is definitely going to put this behind the pack. It does weigh 3,122 pounds, but where you're going to come out a real winner are MPGs. 28 in the city, 37 on the highway. Nice to see them moving in a direction though where they did bring a little bit of horsepower. The bad news is they did get rid of the turbocharged engine. Would have been nice to have seen that progress. Give this 200 horsepower and a traditional automatic transmission, I think a lot more people would be jumping on board. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the interior and see what the Sentra brings to the table. All right, guys, we're inside this 2021 Nissan Sentra SR top trim. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, the three that have been on my list are the Corolla, the Civic, and the Mazda 3. I really haven't even had this on my radar, but I am curious to find out what the price is and what's going on the interior. So how much is it? Well, my response to you, very good question, and it's smart to look at all your options. MSRP on this fully loaded one is going to be right at $25,800. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. Now, I like the soft touch material everywhere, even on the top section. You do have, if you look in the corner of the door panel near the top, there's a rectangle there. That is your blind spot monitoring. So you do have that on the interior, and I really like the way they bring that inside the vehicle. It's easy for you to see. You have your 360-degree cameras as well on the side mirrors. Midsection of the door panel's got some orange stitch work. Same on the armrest, and I'm very happy to report probably some of the softest material in the auto industry on an armrest. There is some faux carbon fiber which seems a little out of place, but the good news is no fingerprints. Door pocket though on the tighter side. Bottle of Mr. Pibb and a churro or two. You can probably do 2 churros from Costco. We do have the Bose optional sound system in here as well. Now when you go from the door panel to the dash, there's a little bit of this dark chrome finish, which I wish they would have used a little bit more this gloss black and silver finish, soft touch material with the stitch work. As we come across to the center section, this is where some of those updates are still showing very well. You're going to have an 8-inch infotainment system, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. If you're comparing it to the competition, they also have about the same size screen. This one is that iPad style. You do have cameras though, which at $25,000 to have the 360 and the forward-facing camera with trajectory, the competition does not have that. Hit the camera, look at this, look at those wheels. Bling, bling, 18-inch wheels, looking good. I go right back, and here we are. Is it a touchscreen? Yes, of course. Look, I touch it, and it does things, see? So that's what makes it functional, versatile. You also have Nissan Connect services, so you could do the Nissan Concierge service with the SR. That is new for 2021. You could not do that last year. And then we get right back to home again. Throw it into reverse. There's our backup cameras. They are grainy, but you know what? To have 360-degree cameras at this price point is quite admirable. You hit your audio, and then you could go right back to Sirius XM. We're rocking now to 80s on 8. Stitch work is great. Love the AC vents. They really mimic the AC vents that you would find like in a Mercedes-Benz product. We do have heated seats, heated steering wheel, no ventilated seats, but we can't zonk it because the competition does not have it. We do have dual climate control, and I really like the switch gear to change the temperature. You're going to get USB-C, a USB and aux jack, and a 12-volt, plus easily put at least 6 Twinkies in this official Nissan Twinkie tray. You do have the stitch work and the soft material on the side. This is going to control that Cvt transmission, and you have a start-stop button there. If you're wondering what's this right here, that's a sport mode button, but you cannot manually shift with the shifter, or there's no paddles on the back of the steering wheel. But I do like the way they brought the orange everywhere. Just a little bit of gloss black. Everything else is flat. Cover up the fingerprints. You have the good old-fashioned Nissan key fob. You know what? Compare this to a Toyota key fob. This one's actually better. It feels a little bit more sturdy. It's nice and light, and it's not going to poke you in the groin, which is great. 2 cup holders. You got a little place for some Mentos. You pick up your hot date. Do the fresh breath maker right there with your Mentos. Soft touch on the center console. Open that up. What do we got? Enough room for a box of Twinkies. Definitely got to thank Isaac for putting these box of Twinkies. He's a Radies Rise Patreon member. And we have more connectivity inside there. Look at this. Bombs away. Bombs away. There we go. Tons of room. Seats. Developed by NASA. Those zero gravity seats. Like the little bit of orange that they bring. Soft touch material. Now it is manual assist for the passenger. I have electric assist on the driver's side, and you do get a sunroof, which is nice. Remember, $25,000. Take that all into consideration. Coming over though, I got a flat bottom steering wheel I want to show you behind the wheel of on the business end. All right guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have your seat controls, easy to get to, even that lower lumbar, which is hard to come by at this price point. I'm 6 feet tall, and sitting in these zero gravity seats, I feel like I'm ready to become an astronaut. Go to space camp, eat astronaut ice cream and everything else. Plenty of headroom in here. And then the steering wheel, it looks like it's taken out of a GTR, and I'm being serious. Flat bottom, you got the orange stitching. That's what they do very consistent. All the stitching is the same color. A lot of brands don't do that. You have notches for 10 and 2, a little on the small side. Would like to see those be a little larger. Tasteful horn button, flat black on the buttons. There's no paddles, but it is a tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then you have your gauges. There's a 7-inch digital display in the center, which you could toggle through a cornucopia of information. And then you're gonna have your analog tach, analog speedometer, fuel gauge, and coolant gauge. We also are gonna have, of course, lane keep assist, emergency braking, blind spot monitoring. This has more safety features than the competition at this price point. But why don't we get to the back seat and see how your passengers are gonna like being in the compact sedan. All right guys, back seat time. And yes, you get to enjoy some of that NASA seat technology in the back seat as well. Backs of the seats, what I do like, it's all the same material. What I don't like, and it's gonna get a zonk, no pocket on the driver's side. You do though get one USB, so I guess if you arm wrestle your sibling, just make sure you're stronger. Or what you do is, if you're right about to lose, punch them in the kidney, and that'll allow you to then slam their hand down and win the arm wrestling competition so that you get the USB. I have a pocket over here. So the great news is I could put moon rocks, I could put more of that space ice cream, maybe read about space, all that kind of stuff in the back pocket area. A little bit of faux carbon fiber, make me feel like a race car astronaut. Maybe I'm racing the Challenger. Did you see what I did there? Challenger race. But anyways, armrest, do you get one? Of course. And the good news is, super soft. The bad news is, whoever had this car before me ate potato chips, because there's crumbs in here, and I know those aren't standard. That might be an option if you buy your Sentra used. You get those optional crumbs and potato chips from the previous owner. But I'm gonna put those back because that's kind of gross. 6 feet tall, I'm telling you, compact doesn't feel so small anymore. Let's get to the trunk, see what kind of junk we could put in the Sentra. All right, guys, let's get into the trunk, see how it stacks up against the competition. Just push the button, lift it up. You know what? You're gonna get a nice, large opening. I like the way the cargo floor is lower, so you could get some of those bigger Costco items, the barrels of mayonnaise and sour cream. 14 cubic feet of space. Yes, the seats do the 60-40 split to lay them down. The big zonk, though, is to get those seats down, you gotta do it from the inside. I wish they would give us the handles like the competition has to make that job easier, but the great news is you do get a spare. Some of the competitors aren't giving you a spare anymore. You do have a spare, but you know what? It's about that time. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's take this Sentra for a little spin. All right, guys, we left our parking lot spot. We're in the 2021 Nissan Sentra SR. Getting out onto the highway, I really want to showcase how this car drives. You know, the great news is, with it being a little bit larger Sentra, it gives you a little bit smoother ride. But let's go on throttle as we go onto the highway here. And that's the thing, is when you look at it compared to the competition, the 0 to 60 is really lacking, and getting onto a highway from that on-ramp could be a little challenging because of the lack of go that it has. And I know that this isn't meant to be a performance model, so to speak, but it would be nice just to have a little bit quicker 0 to 60 and a little bit more passing speed when you go to get into that next lane, or like I said, get on the highway. But driving down the road, the seats feel great. Those NASA developed zero gravity seats feel phenomenal. There is a bit of wind noise and road noise that I'm experiencing, but when you compare it to the competition, they have the same overall effect as well. You could feel the work that they did to the updated rack and pinion with the steering, and I kind of like the idea that there's just no modes in here. You just get in, you fire it up, and you drive. Visibility out the front is great. Out the back, just as nice. I think they did a really great job with making it feel a little more premium in the Sentra with the way they designed the AC vents, the stitch work, the soft touch material on the dash. It would be nice if it had a little bit more power. 180 horsepower, 190 horsepower, and you'd really be feeling a more engaging driving experience. Yes, there's the CVT that also kind of disengages you from the overall driving feel, but for, you know, getting good MPGs and smooth operation on the highway, it's fine. It's just like I said, that passing, when you go to pass, watch, I'll show you as I change lanes here. So on throttle, just you really got to plan your moves way ahead of time and not be distracting yourself, for sure. But the great news is you are getting lane keep assist, you're getting a blind spot monitoring, lots of great safety features, which is part of that protection system from Nissan. And at this price point, they do offer you more safety features than any other brand. So they got you covered there. Visibility out the back is great. The side mirrors are nice. And I'm really digging the color. This blue with the black roof just really sets the lines off of the Sentra, and it really does look like a baby Maxima or even a Ultima. That styling has been carried over across the different models. Would be nice if they bring over an actual like 9-speed automatic, 7-speed automatic from one of their other models to this particular one. But driving down the road, the great news is it's an ease to drive, and you're also getting some nice technology. So you got your Apple CarPlay, your Android Auto. Getting to the infotainment system is simple. Armrests are nice and soft, which is a nice plus addition. Some vehicles have some of the hardest armrests. Nowhere I would want to put my arm, that's for sure. But as you can see, driving on the road, very, very smooth, very composed. It's just when you're comparing it to a Corolla or a Civic, I think they just have you covered with a little bit more, you know, especially when you look at the Civic and the way that the Civic drives. That driving engagement really kind of shines in that particular vehicle. I do like the connectivity, and like I said, the way that they gave this a little bit more premium feel, kind of approaching the Mazda 3, is a very nice touch. All right, guys, I want to give you a taste of acceleration from a dead stop in the Sentra. You don't have any paddles, and you can't manually shift with the shifter. But on throttle, here we go. You do have those simulated gears. The nice thing about that is it's helping to keep down that RPM drone, but you are getting that usual CVT belt sound from the front of the vehicle. Not too buzzy from the 4-cylinder, which is good news, but it, like I said, when you're comparing it to the Corolla, when you're comparing it to the Civic, it is lacking some horsepower. I do love the steering wheel though. Nice thickness on the steering wheel, and the feedback you get feels really, really good. But hopefully this gave you a nice overall feel of what the Sentra is all about, especially the SR trim. When it comes to the competition, we're gonna get back to our special parking lot location and wrap this up, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been another great day with this 2021 Sentra. I definitely got to thank Steve and the rest of the crew over at Nissan USA for allowing Rady's Rides access to this press fleet vehicle. If you're looking for a compact car, guess what? The great news is they're still out there and there's plenty to choose from. Definitely want to add the Sentra to your list, especially if you are a fan of Nissan and wanting to see some of those changes that they're making along the way and the similar styling to the bigger siblings in the lineup, the Maxima and the Altima. But if you want to keep seeing small cars with 4 doors here on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you in the channel, click the first link, become a Rady's Rides Patreon member. Click the second link, get yourself some Rady's Rides merch. Let's give it up to the queen of the camera. She's out here filming day in and day out, busting her butt just for you. Show Lori some love in the comment section. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.